Okay, so you see all these videos appearing on your screen? Well, all of those videos were from classes that I've used and gotten great gameplays with, but I realized one thing missing throughout each video. I forgot to give you guys the class setup. So in today's video, I'm making a compilation of all the class setups I used from the past couple of videos, and I figured I'd put them in one video because why not? Extra content. If you guys enjoy, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get right into it. So let's kick this off in order. First, we have the Signal 50, and I made this class setup while I was grinding gold for the weapon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the class. You guys can see I have the TV Kilo 50, the SA Shroud Flash Hider, the FSS Echo Stock is right under my face, and then for the rear grip, you have the Stalwart grip. So the tuning for the Kilo is as follows. I didn't focus on recoil steadiness or aim walking speed at all, but I did focus on heavy damage range for the barrel tuning just because I wanted to hit the enemy's guy a little bit harder. Next up, for the muzzle tuning, I wanted to focus on aim down, sight speed, and aim stability. This is particularly important to me because I didn't want the gun to move around while I was aiming, so aim out stability was very important. If you guys have ever noticed you're aiming your gun not moving and the cursor is just moving around constantly, this is what eliminates that. I didn't care too much about gun kick control because it's a sniper, it's gonna kick anyway, so who gives a crap. Next up, just to hit the enemies that a little bit harder, I got the armor piercing. This is the 50 cal version. I went for damage range and bullet velocity here because I wanted the bullets to literally pierce the enemies. I wanted them to hit and hit hard. Now for the Stalwart grip, we have focused on aim down, side speed, and sprint to fire. Basically because snipers are very big and heavy and they can make your character move slower, so the quicker you can ADS, the quicker you can sprint but turn into a fire at the same time is very, very important. Now remember that none of these tunes are based on a linear scale, so these tunes could be wrong. I don't recommend maxing out your tuning. I recommend going on YouTube and looking up an actual tune setup for these guns because the tuning is just confusing, so I max them out. And last but not least, for the FSS Echo Stock, I focused on aim out stability once more and aim down sight speed for the reasons mentioned earlier. Now let's get into the next gun. So here now we have the next weapon. This is the Victus XMR Sniper. Now this one's a little bit more complicated than the other one because there are some things on the other sniper I chose not to touch that this sniper needed touching up. So let's go ahead and focus on that. We got the Forge Tac Delta 4 for our scope. We have the Mammoth HB50 for the barrel. We also have one of those stock things for the underbarrel just so you can mount better. And then for the rear grip, we have the Bruin G305 grip wrap. Let me go ahead and give you guys a tuning. So for the barrel, I've tuned accordingly. I've tuned for aim down sight speed and recoil steadiness, as you guys can see, just because aim down sight speed is very, very important to me. I'm a run and gun player. I'm not the type of person to sit in one place and snipe. I'm a run and gun, so I want a quick scope, I want to do tricks, and I want to have a lot of fun. Recoil steadiness also helps out with that because the gun isn't kicking every time I shoot, which means I can have better accuracy when I'm hitting the enemy. It's called a bipod now. Okay, I knew I was tripping, but this is for the underbarrel just so we can mount better. For the ammunition, we actually have armor piercing here. This is the tuning. I did the same thing for the other gun with the damage range and bullet velocity for the same reasons mentioned earlier. Now, me personally, I don't think tuning is too important for optics, but here's what I've tuned for aim down sight speed, and that's pretty much it. I really didn't tune close or far because I don't really care about that. When it comes to me, like I said, I'm running guns, so the enemies are always going to be within shooting distance, pretty much. Next up, we have the Bruin wrap. For this, I focus on sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed for the reasons mentioned earlier. I don't think I have to go too much more in depth on why I choose these things because they're all kind of tuned the same. Okay, so last but certainly not least, this is the Bryson 800. I call it the Bryson Max because it is literally the best shotgun in the whole game. So if we go ahead and enter the gunsmith here, you guys can see I have a great list of attachments. The most important one being the ammunition. I have a 12 gauge explosive for damage range, bullet velocity, because when I hit the enemies, I want them to die. I don't want to hit them twice and get a hit marker. No, I want them to die when I hit them. Next up, we have the Bryson Improved Choke. This basically makes it so that when I'm shooting, all of my bullets are going straight. They're not, drifting off or breaking apart. That's what tighter pellet spread means. It means that they're going straight and they're all hitting the enemy. As for damage range, well, which basically gives us more range for damage. Next up, we have the rifle barrel here. So I went for damage range and recoil steadiness. Basically, so you guys know what damage range is, but recoil steadiness is basically so that the gun doesn't kick up whenever I shoot. This gun in particular does that a lot. Next up, we have the canted. So I actually didn't tune my canted, but I will show you guys what it does here in the firing range. Basically, with the canted laser sight, when you press the ADS button, your gun will turn sideways, meaning that you have a straight vision of the enemy to hit them with the most accuracy. Pretty much. And then we just have the sawed-off stock mod, basically just for speed. Literally, I want it to be food. So I know this wasn't a super long video, but those are the class setups for guns I've been using in the last few videos. Like I said, I know I didn't give you guys the class setups in those videos, so I wanted to make a video dedicated to it just so you guys don't have to go elsewhere to look for them. You can find them all right here on More KRP. Stay tuned.